selling. I ain't buying.
Anyway, I ain't gonna use all of this, so feel free to help yourself to whatever's left. You take care now.
Okay, do you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it.
Let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
I will sort of just kick us off and say thank you for being here for our first stream for the semester. We are looking here at Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
Someday, probably a little bit later, about why we have chosen to start there.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us
Yeah.
where you're heading right now?
Yeah, so real quick, it's Red Dead Redemption 2 from, was it 2018 or 2019?
I think it says 18.
Yeah, and so we're playing on a very contemporary, sort of high-end PC setup. So we've got some really good graphics. And, you know, if everybody will pardon our technological evolution, we're trying to upgrade our streaming and recording setups here. So this is our sort of dry run on this. But I am Dr. David Thomas. I spent the last 2 years doing as the visiting assistant professor of art history at Roanoke College. My background is in the intersections of art, technology, and architecture. I wrote my dissertation on a group in the 60s and 70s that pioneered early computer design and synthesizer spaces. But Bevin and I have, I don't know if she's told you, but we've known each other since, 2009?
I did. I filled them in about our friendship forged in the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
And kind of that whole time we've been friends, we have also been talking about this idea of perhaps one day trying to do something meaningful with video games in art history. You know, more than just video games are awesome, let's look at them, which, I mean, they are. But, so tonight's sort of our first foray into that, and I think Bevin sort of gave you a little bit of our kind of media theory in class the other day.
I did, yeah. So I explained it very thoroughly to the students who are in history. Really kind of where a lot of this is focused.
Yeah.
They're going to write a bigger paper about it by the end of the semester. And I explained it at least briefly to my other courses.
Yeah.
Intro to art, and then surveys too. So.
Yeah, so the long and short of it, to repeat a little, is just that instead of relying on us all having this shared bank of images that used to get fed to us through generational and obliged media, we're now trying to transition to using video games to teach tools of media literacy because we think they're far more effective. It's something that newer generations of scholars like Dr. Butler and I, and newer generations of students like you guys have in common. It's a far more ubiquitous media that, as we'll see throughout the semester, has all of these great design elements involved in it. All right, so have you sort of so tonight's exercise, right, is our introduction to sort of media literacy. And one of your classes, I think, has talked about this a lot more versus the other, but it'll be visual analysis is kind of what we're going after tonight.
Yes, and all of the classes are aware of kind of what all that entails. And I have uploaded the streaming journal worksheet for all the classes.
Cool.
For history of design, we're doing this for a grade as part of a larger project, and then the others have been uploaded as a form of extra credit. So it's a worksheet that the streaming journal is on, and then it has 4 questions laid out.
Yeah.
As prompts for you to respond to.
So we're going to we've got several different looking environments within this game world picked. And we're going to ride to a couple of those, and then you'll just use these to sort of fill out those questions. And Dr. Butler and I will sort of provide some examples, you know, once everybody's been given some time to look at things.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to unplug and replug my headphones in.
Uh huh.
If that helps with my microphone situation at all.
Yeah.
Also, just like can't figure out why they go ridiculous. Like, what planet are these headphones from?
Do you have them set as the audio input on your
I thought I
computer?
did.
Okay.
Do I? Does this sound okay? Do I sound okay?
Well, I'm not really hearing you much through the stream, I think.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Maybe I can get this thing or worse. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, you just keep talking.
Okay.
See if I can figure out my situation.
So we are going to pick, we'll just pick this spot right here. So we have a nice traditional sort of landscape view. So I'll let it sort of sit here and look around for a second. But describe what you can tell about this environment. What's our prompt? I don't have it sit right in front of me, Bevin.
I don't think they can hear me, but it's what kind of environment are we in right
Okay.
now?
Okay. So yeah, answer in your prompt as thoroughly as you can. What kind of environment are we in right now? And that can be both a visual sense, like what you're seeing, what you're hearing, or what you think, quote unquote, you might be feeling, right? Because we sort of always have these great empathetic connections to characters, especially in video games. So take the time to think about your kind of formal analysis. That
And tell them I'm writing the prompt in the
okay,
chat.
Bevin's or Dr. Butler's writing the prompt in chat. She's having a little trouble. Okay, she can. Bevin's having a little trouble with her microphone. But yeah, she'll put the prompt up in the chat, and then she'll read the chat stuff to me. You can also put it in first person. Alright, so if somebody wants to give us maybe just some keywords that they're using, we can start to flesh some ideas out about what kind of environment we're in.
I am also testing an audio change to
Okay.
see if that helped anybody. Testing. Dry run of me attempting problem troubleshooting. Hannah says tranquil in the chat.
Tranquil, okay. So, if we're trying to sort of further that, right, tranquil's a great feeling. What are some of...
And mountainous.
Okay, so we'll come to mountainous after that. But what are some of the visual cues of tranquility? Right, let's sort of focus on that idea, because I definitely agree it's a very peaceful, sort of calm scene. But like specifically, what about this image makes us feel tranquil?
We have natural, spacious, rocky, hilly, wooded valley.
Ooh, yep.
All of those are responses we've received so far.
Yeah. Right, so we've moved from tranquil, right, to sort of identifying some elements of this scene, but let's keep pushing it further. Is this, so this is going to be a silly question, but answer it honestly, is this an actual woody scene? Are we looking at real trees?
Good question.
We call this a woody, sort of lush, natural environment. But are we actually looking at any real nature here? ...
Yes. Animated?
So, sort of another Socratic question. Where's the one place we can go into the world to see actual trees? Well, but like the real outdoors, right? So then, not to sound pedantic, but everything else that is an image is a representation. So what we want to think about with our visual analyses is how do they make this appear to us as a tree, right? What is the journey from pen to paper, right? Pixel to screen, right? The artistic organization that gives us tranquil trees. Somebody hinted at it earlier. We had a good use of color, right?
Yeah.
What color, if we had to use our formal analysis terms to talk about this color palette, what would we say?
Greenery is the one we had earlier.
Greenery, right, which kind of refers to vegetation, but we'll take it as green.
True.
Right, so we have, right, sort of a kind of powerful use of both, or potent use of both, an analogous and somewhat complementary color schemes, but we get that sense of verdant fecundity, right? The super green growth of it, right? We get with just all of these overwhelmingly similar shades of green, right? Everywhere we look, we've got sort of greeny yellow, down to more of like a saturated brown green, then to some blue greens, right? And it's really using that analogous color scheme of just sticking to the greens and the green spectrum to really sell us the outdoor nature of it. What would we say about maybe the use of lime towards the same effect of selling us nature?
I'm gonna go grab different headphones.
Okay.
Make a difference.
All right. Right, because there's, in formal analysis or visual analysis, we often teach that the angles or the state of lines carry with them heavy sort of emotional content. And so vertical lines, and I always use trees in my lecture as an example, the vertical line, right, embodies a sense of strength and solitude, right, the defiance of gravity, right, it is a body sort of erect in space, right, singling itself out from the horizon, right, its strength and longevity. And then the horizontal line are things that are at rest, right, they're still. And the diagonal line is things that are in motion. And we think about trees, right, so the vertical tree is the tree that is alive and it's growing, right, and it's strong and resolute. The diagonal, or the horizontal tree, like the one we see here, is a dead tree, right? It's sort of at rest. It's come to the end of its journey, both biologically and physically, right? All of its potential energy that became kinetic as it was falling is now sort of potential energy again. And then the diagonal line, right, is that falling tree, right? It's the object in motion.
Are you able to read the chat, Dave? Or do you
No. Yeah, go ahead and give me some chat.
In the chat, they're saying there's crisper visuals in the foreground while making the distance and mountains more hazy looking.
Ooh,
And
yes.
Sebastian is on about your line thing. The lines invoke a sense of stability with a flat base and vertical lines. And then we also have all the lines in the grass and the trees are pointing upwards.
Yes. So we have a lot of that dynamic, resolute, active, growing, and then just, again, the ubiquitous covering of the ground in lines gives us this kind of almost primordial grassland feel that, you know, the game very much sells us a natural place that did not exist even in this moment of America. So it's quite romantic here with how things are treated. Okay, and then the mountainous. What's another name for that? We talked. Somebody mentioned the visuals getting hazy as it recedes away from us.
Yeah,
right? And this does, the game here does both elements of that kind of trick of the eye, right? There's two distinct elements to that technique. Right, so we've got
Perspective. What kind of perspective after that?
yeah, what kind of perspectives? We had perspective, but there's a specific kind that we're replicating here. And we see both a issue of line sharpness or fidelity and color palette indicate the presence of this perspective. Atmospheric, right. Right? As the light refracts more and more through the air, right, our eyes are able to define it with less acuity. And so we mimic that in painting by making it look blurry and giving it that blue-gray sort of color palette. Okay. Let me see if we have a proper outfit for what we're about to do. Yes, we do. Okay. We're going to go to a new environment. And we're just going to, instead of fast traveling, which this game can do, we're just going to ride there. Right? And that'll sort of give us some time to just see the game. People can ask questions.
I like it. Sounds like a good way to spend some time.
Yeah. So I've changed into a much warmer outfit. Ooh, hang on. We gotta make sure our horse is well fed.
You all right, girl?
So I always name my horses after national parks in this game.
Is that a you thing or a game thing?
That's a me thing. You can name them whatever you want. I always pick national parks. But the game at this point takes place in the very late 1800s. And Arthur, for anybody who's not played this game, is part of essentially a Wild West style gang. And there is much analogs or fabrications of a Wild West myth that never really existed in America. But they also sort of represent the end of that age as the modern world sort of comes crashing down upon them. And they, essentially end up having to deal with the early formations of what will become the FBI and groups like that. Hold on. I think one of my pistols is very dirty. We can't have that. Oh, yeah.
Don't allow that.
Yeah, but all of the guns in the game are more or less historically accurate. Like right here, this shows a LeMat conversion revolver, but what it shows is the original LeMat cap and ball revolver, even though it's a conversion in the game. But for the most part, fairly historically accurate. Anything interesting in chat?
Still messing around with this thing.
Oh, okay.
I can get, Laura said Kelly, and I don't know the username, I'm not sure who that is that their husband's Red Dead Redemption horse's name is Meat Biscuit.
Nice. Let's see. I've heard John Bon Pony
Okay.
was one. Oh, shit. Some people have some good ones.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, we are getting there.
It's Monica. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Another one of my
Yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know, the Red Dead Redemption game has always designed its map as this really kind of neat, truncated version of America. Where as we can sort of see by some of the names, right? The area over here, Saint Denis, is clearly New Orleans, right? And then we have Annisburg and the Roanoke Valley, which is Virginia, West Virginia, and then up here is kind of supposed to be the Dakotas. So not like a total accurate United States, but Mexico and the U.S. are in this world, and there's a part of the map that's Texas and Mexico. But, you know, it gives you an area that feels like you've traveled really far without having done so. You know, so you can't really ride your horse across the U.S. in 5 minutes. But it kind of makes it feel like you could.
Yeah, that sounds like a reasonable...
Yeah. You're like, ooh, man, I've been riding my horse all day. And it's like, I've been riding my horse for 90 seconds. Alright. So, just so we don't get mauled by a bear.
That would be bad.
Yeah. I had to find the most Texan-looking hat I could for him. Naturally. Just the most obvious, look at me, cowboy giant Texan hat.
Yes.
I mean, because what else is he going to wear?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. Alright. We're almost there. I can hear, like, that echo, Bevin.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I was trying to hear myself. I can sort of hear myself a little bit, but it is very muffled.
Alright, well, we'll get it working for next one better.
And once we get to this next location,
Mm-hmm.
that's when we're going to do the next question, which is written out the same.
Yeah. Correct.
And Dave, one of the things that you're maybe going to tell us about is why you chose this game.
Okay, yeah. So, the game is cherry-picked a little bit, if that's a term anybody makes sense, right? You know, when we're trying to argue, and less of our goal here is arguing for video games as art, and more why they're useful teaching tools.
Yes, I would agree.
And so, you kind of want to step out with one of the greatest games made of all time, which Red Dead is absolutely, in terms of the rock star mid-aughts sort of sandbox RPG. I don't think they necessarily get better than this. Maybe some had less technical issues. You know, it's not a perfect game. But in terms of storytelling, but also, this game throws a lot of art history nods your way. Right? You know, it's very much a game that's set within its moment in time, because the images the United States is exporting in the late 1800s to the rest of the world are of spaces like this, right? Things that would be known as the sublime and the picturesque, right? For about 100 years, that was one of our main exports as kind of American modern painters found their identity. Right, they weren't all American. We had lots of British painters and people who, during the Revolution or the following, identified more with European powers than U.S. But still, our predominant image was not of ancient culture like Rome or Greece, but was of spaces that looked like this, where they made us feel tiny in their overwhelming grandeur and magnanimity. Something, right? But it was a distinct feeling that was it Joseph Burke, James Burke? It was Burke, but it's called Burke's Sublime. And it's kind of like looking at the Grand Canyon, or if you kind of imagine like, oh, if any of you were in Cookeville for the solar eclipse, where it's something that's beautiful but terrifying in its scale at the same time.
I agree.
Right? Like, kind of like when you go to the Grand Canyon and you look, and you're like, that's over a mile down. You're like, no, that doesn't make sense. You know, or if you were like suddenly thrust into the void of space. Right? But the images from that time are like people on the precipice of an erupting geyser or a volcano. Right? You know, Europe is making a lot of mythical images, while the U.S. is like, or North America, I should say, is like, hey, here's the Redwood Forest, here's Old Faithful, here's Niagara Falls, here's the Rocky Mountains, you know. And it was this unique brand. But yeah, so when we're looking at this place, where are we? What are we feeling? Why are we feeling that way? And remember, you know, we're specifically looking at video games here, so it doesn't have to be just things that it shares with paint media, right? Because we have movement and sound, you know, and interaction. So this is a great one for, I want everybody to sort of think about Arthur here, right? Our cowboy, our main character, when we're talking about how this place feels. We can see it looking in the environment, but we can also see the game designer and their active attempt to create an empathetic, connected viewer. Right, so what are, you know, if you could put in the chat maybe some of the things that we're reading from the environment, but also this human figure in there.
Yeah, we've talked about that some in class too, where the levels of formal analysis, right? Like on one hand, we're just describing, but on the other hand, we are interpreting something from that.
Yeah. And we could sort of just describe in basic, almost alien sense, like what when we're looking at Arthur, what is he doing, right? If we're trying to look at different formal analysis, we don't even need to read the semiotic relationship. Just what do we see him doing first?
Right now, it's just sitting on his horse.
Right, but he's giving us signals about his state in the environment, though.
Oh, he's chilly, says Inslee.
Right, so how do we know he's chilly? Right, we'll unpack that some.
Yeah, he's warming up his hands, rubbing his hands together to create warmth.
Right, so, all right, rubbing his hands together, we're making some assumptions. Right, but we do see him rubbing his hands together. But give me, like, the real nitty-gritty. Is there an Arthur there that's actually rubbing his hands together? Right, so we're seeing them mimic that, but what we're seeing, right, to relate it to things like line, is we're seeing them sort of rapidly change the movement of line or pixels on the screen to animate motion, right? To insinuate motion that's not actually there.
Well, because he's not there, right? But in the same way that a person is not in a painting.
Yeah, and just let's make sure we're talking about, you're right, you know, that really in-deep formal analysis. Always make sure that we regard it as a piece of media and not as the content that is being sold.
Yeah.
Right? But so let's just say we see him rubbing his hands together and blowing his hands. How do we know why he's doing that? Or why can we pretty much clearly assume he's doing that?
Someone noticed that he's coughing even, kind of moving his hands quickly back and forth and holding them up to his face.
So we're kind of getting that idea of creating a sense of naturalism through that assumption of friction, but also yeah, but we're borrowing from a shared experience of having been cold before, of having seen our breath, of having rubbed our hands together to keep them warm. But what else on top of Arthur sells this chilly tundra?
Not just the figure, but the
Not just the figure, but yeah. Ooh, hazy fog. We have any meteorologists, earth scientists that want to tell us
No, I don't
why
think
this
so.
happens?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? We get ice crystals when it's this cold
Ooh.
that'll cling in the air.
Okay.
And then it's also so cold that any heat coming up off the ground, off of animals, will immediately sort of crystallize and steam. So we get sort of this haze because the sun hasn't come in to heat up the air in the morning. And since it's really dry air,
Yeah.
we're going to get a lot of these ice crystals hanging there. So the haze, what about color? Where's our use of color leaning?
Yeah, these
I want to hear about color and I want to hear about scale.
bluish white color.
Bluish white color, yes. And what do we call that kind of color palette? I know Bevin went over this one. She's got her Picasso picture.
Yeah, cool colors.
Yeah, cool colors, that's right. But in this case, they're not cool, they are ice cold. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry about that one.
Snap.
Right? So we've got the cool colors, the white, the blue, that sort of dark blue-gray. Where are we seeing scale?
Someone also pointed out just desaturated or muted colors, not like bright and vibrant.
Ooh, yes, desaturated. I like that. Right? Definitely pushed towards that blown out white end of the palette. And that really kind of gives us this, again, that sense of there being something in the air. A quality to the air that we're having trouble seeing through. What about scale? And you'll make sure to keep us on time, Bevin, right? What time is it? Oh, we gotta move a little bit after this. Oh, shit. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Drop my phone.
I want to use the word panoramic for scale.
Ooh, panoramic. But, alright. So we've been looking at it the whole time. We've seen, look at this cabin. We've got a cabin down there. Right?
Where?
Right there.
Oh, I see it now. Okay.
Right? And we've had deer walking around. Oops. Right? Or, I believe these are cow, not deer. These are cow elk.
Okay, whatever.
But what does that do for our sense of scale, right? Why put these trees and those deer and or the elk and those rock and that cabin in here? What are they selling us about this environment?
Okay, Monica's telling us that the trees next to the mountain is telling us some height versus the trees that are next to the viewer.
Yep. Oh,
And, like,
yes.
Little trees back there and big trees up. on
Big
top.
trees up here. What are some good terms we can use for that? We've got what kind of ground being used?
Figure ground.
Close.
Background.
Background and
Foreground.
yeah,
Or
right?
displacement.
And it uses a very painterly and what will become photographic affect of if we look at the border of the image of cutting those trees off,
Yeah.
right? And the thing is, we don't actually, our eyes don't really see that way, but it's a thing borrowed from screens and frames and surfaces that we view images on, but we cut it off to show that it is close to us, right? And the full scale of it is beyond our vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. All right. We're gonna, since we're getting a little low on time,
We could go to one more spot. Maybe.
we're gonna fast travel to some spots.
Okay. While you're fast traveling,
Yeah.
does anybody feel like I've made any improvement on my microphone? Will you ask them that? In case they can't hear me still?
While I am fast traveling, Bevin wants to know if there's been any improvement in her microphone. Oh, this is not where I wanted to go. It'll work though.
Sebastian said in all caps, no.
Oh, dear. So, when we had it working earlier, you did something that it worked. Yeah.
I don't know where the microphone on this computer is, and I plugged headphones in that have a microphone, and that's what I want to be speaking through.
Yeah.
It just doesn't really appear to be working.
Is it the headphones muted? Do you have the mute button pressed in?
There's not a mute button.
There might be.
Well, I've tried multiple sets of headphones at this point.
Oh, okay.
Can I get a ride, please,
So I don't
partner?
really think that's
So
it.
where are you headed?
And I've tried just unplugging there, and that was to use the computer's microphone.
Change your mind?
But I don't know where
Skin off my
like, the
nose.
input for the computer's microphone is.
Come on, folks. Ride the stage.
My, what a scary sight is.
We could also shoot people on the way if anybody wants. Doesn't just have to be.
Well, come on.
Don't? Oh, you wanted me to shoot more people? Got it.
That's not what I said.
Y'all heard it. Oh, it's a clan rally.
What?
Yeah. Let's get our,
Someone says to shoot Micah. Who's Micah?
Oh, I wish.
Settle down, my friend. Settle down. Because we are here today for a very special occasion. Yeah, woohoo!
Alright, this will be our scene. Let's do it. Tell us where we're at. Tell us what you're feeling.
Our numbers are waning, thanks to the fools in Congress and their ludicrous ideas.
Yeah.
But
Let's
today,
see, I'm gonna
we
put a
grow
question
one
here.
stronger. As we anoint a new brother.
Right. I will let this one be an interactive environment because after all, we are looking at video games.
Step forward and kneel.
You know, so you can treat it as a thing that has a time that passes or look at a specific,
Yes, sir.
you know, screenshot, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. There we go. The eternal light shines.
Yeah. So someone said scared, right? So why? So why scared? Right. Well, there's now a guy throwing TNT at people. Yes,
Goddamn hood.
indeed I am.
I'll kill all you bastards.
So whenever you find these, they're sort of randomized in the game. If you wait long enough without attacking them, they always end up sort of comically killing themselves.
Okay, that's just the invisible.
Yeah. So the game certainly encourages you to blow them up or firebomb them or whatever you want to do. But
We have a good score
Easy now.
in the chat.
yes, let's hear it.
Contrast of the burning cross with the moonlit sky in the back is very sinister,
Yes. Ooh.
as
The,
well as feeling like an onlooker witnessing something you shouldn't see.
ooh. So we.
Having the feeling.
Yeah, so I'll repeat what Bevin said. So it was, I'll paraphrase the contrast of the moonlit sky and then the sort of white-clad figures with their torches gave a very sinister feeling. Oh, Sinister's such a great one to use.
Good word.
Right, Sinister's such a good word. Right, and Sinister has that color palette, right? It was dark, but it was high contrast, it was moonlit, so it's high shadows. Oh, and Sinister stuff always happens in the shadows, right? And at night. Alright, so here's another environment we can go with.
Okay.
Let me see if I can, just so we can sit here and not get run over by a train. Park my horse by this gator.
Whoa, easy.
What's a giga?
An alligator,
Oh.
right? See, there's gators. A gator. What do you mean you don't know gator? Where you from? You don't know gator. Alright, easy. Yeah. Whoops, don't run off. Don't run off.
Good girl.
Ooh.
Hold up.
Oh, yes. Also, another idea from our KK, our clan rally. Oh god, we're never gonna run for office now. But the idea of a perspective of the viewer, right? Of in some sense seeing, of identifying the viewpoint as a person or as an us, right? And in this, we see that to some extent, right? That is forced upon us in what we call, we'll talk about this later, but a third-person camera.
Yeah.
Right? And that's actually a trope borrowed from literature, from the they-them perspective of where the character is named and explicitly their own individual who is not the reader.
Right.
Whereas here, we are first person, right? This is more of an environment where you'd more likely refer to it as you, or I am doing this. Whereas here, it's very much clearly Arthur. And that's another great thing I like about this game.
In this way, I feel like we are a we also, kind of. Like
Yeah.
with him, behind him, next to him.
Yes, but we are also a we. Bevin said she feels very much more like a we, like we are with him, behind him. But also as a group, we're a we here. And that's another really interesting way video games functions, is sort of pointing out directly our relationship to the media. Because virtual media like this constantly need us to reestablish that relationship and those rules. Alright, do we have time for one more environment? Yeah.
Probably, and then we have a fourth question that's kind of a summarizing kind of question.
Okay. Well, if we can, let's read the fourth question now, and we can start thinking about it.
Okay, let me... So, it is, how would you describe the look of this game? Is it naturalistic or realistic? Does it look like our real world? Can we assume anything based on its appearance?
Yeah.
How does the appearance affect the or gameplay?
Alright.
And I'm going to type that.
Okay. Yeah, so Bevin's going to type our fourth question in there, or our last question. It's a little bit of a long one.
Real world. Dave, will you ask them, those who have joined us here live, if they have requests for possible future games?
Bevin wants to know, for those of you that are here live, are there requests for possible future games? Right.
Obviously, that is, dependent on you having it and play, doesn't mean we'll do all of this.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
But any requests we'd be interested to hear. Right, we certainly don't have plans to play Red Dead every time, but we could. I genuinely believe we could, and it would be fine. Baldur's Gate 3, okay. Metro Exodus, alright. We'll have to make sure to put these in a list, but go ahead.
Those are the two I've got so far.
Yeah, alright. So I'm going to give us very much a Monet Foley at the, what is it? At the bar? Foley Berger, yeah. Alright, so here's our next environment.
A friendly face. Hello.
Alright.
Everyone's a liar at this table. That's no lie.
Howdy, sir.
Alright, so I'll come in and out again, so this is our outside.
Monica comes here to play poker when she plays this game.
Nice. So what is here? Yes, you can sit down with these gentlemen and play poker. You can go over to the bar and get something to eat. Let's do that.
Hey, what's your pleasure?
We'll get want some food.
Heck yeah.
Alright. Lobster bisque or prime rib?
How are things? You look a little
I'm a vegetarian.
unwell.
Prime rib it is.
Just a cough, nothing too serious.
Well, that's good news, sir.
Yeah.
What I can get you.
But something else to consider, and there are things I find that gamers, right, I'm an avid gamer, have been for 30 years now. Let's not lose sight of, like, the things that are on the screen, the HUD, right, that we see dollar signs and numbers in the corner, that we have a mini-map, right, that the screen changes information based on our interaction with the environment.
Yes.
Whiskey, please.
Right, and again, this is all about, like images, like every media does. It continually has to reestablish the rules of consumption, or our relationship with it, how we read it, how we use it, how we listen to it.
No worries, darling. But I can assure you I am worth every cent.
Yeah.
Welcoming. Who is Luna Noel in the chat? I don't know who this is.
What does warm lighting tell us, right? Let's physically describe what the warm, right? Somebody said warm lighting. Let's physically describe the warm and why maybe the designers, the artists, chose warm here instead of like cool white light.
It's from a flame.
Ooh, what kind of flame?
A warm flickering flame. A candle flame.
A warm flickering flame, right? Like a kerosene lamp, a candle. So again,
Thanks is going from bad.
yeah, right, and that moving natural flame light, as I'm like Bevin, I'm sure talks about some of her lectures as I do mine, sort of has these powerful visual moments in history. Whether it's Middle Byzantine cathedrals, where they have the gold tesserae mosaics, or if it's stained glass from the Gothic, or if it's even the Hall of Bulls, or the Caves of Lascaux or Chauvet, where they're in there with just these tiny little pocket lamps of just semi-congealed animal fat. Right, so there's always this sort of sense of energy and history with the flickering light, and then just images and our ability to project light. Right, there are entire scholars, media scholars, that have written their careers about how we have used projected light to show images and how that has changed the course of humanity. But what else?
The chat is also saying the low light.
Ooh.
Almost like an oil painting from the 1800s.
Ooh, low light oil painting from the 1800s. I 100.
Saying that less of a high contrast, which is more comforting.
Less of a high contrast. I want to go back to that 1800s oil painting because I know exactly what you're talking about. But I want us to focus maybe not on it being a low light, right? Because we sort of see that too, but there's some other things in there. Like, what are the qualities of sort of an oil painting?
That you judge is like all the others. They come here,
Saturated colors.
Saturated colors, yes.
code, and end up making rulings.
They also have really high levels of inner reflectivity. Right, as you build up, right, this is why the Mona Lisa is so stunning in person. Right, as those layers of oil are built up, they refract light at different angles, almost like a crystalline structure. But also, if we're looking at the floor, there's...
That's how the true terms.
In the chat just mentioned the reflection off the
Yes, it has an almost moist, reflective, highly reflective, almost sort of moist surface on it that gives us this very strong sense of both space and materiality. And is like one of the things I'm sure y'all sort of hit on at various points is painters, artists, and designers are always looking for places to show off. And very much at that moment in time, in the 19th century, they're looking at optical devices, right? Cameras, microscopes, mirrors, lenses, so things like reflections and how light moves around is very much part of the zeitgeist of that moment. But it's like when you guys look at Renaissance images with Bevin, you know, Renaissance, especially Dürer, is showing off hands. Right, they're showing off how good they do all these different body parts.
He used to come in here regularly.
Yeah.
every Sunday
Someone else
morning
says that the whole room
before
kind of
the
feels a little
service.
greasy.
Irish blood.
Yeah, ooh, I like a little greasy, a little slippery, right? Lubricated by the events of a fun sort of bon vivant night, right? The carefree Cajun
All those steamboats
lifestyle, very
catching
much.
fire.
Again, the 19th century loved showing the leisure time of this newly formed upper middle class.
Yeah. Very much so.
So we're 100% seeing the insides of brothels and bars and casinos and the Moulin Rouge.
I had an
Right.
industry man come in here last week telling me he
Lots of bodies, right? They always want to show off, right? It's that neoclassical attention to contrapposto and the skeletal pose, right? And the learned physiology from Da Vinci, or excuse me, Leonardo and the other Renaissance artists. We shouldn't call him Da Vinci.
Elijah broke his tooth chewing some
Yeah.
with a shot still left in.
Yes. Oh, with the tall collars, the sort of more modest top hats, right? The tailcoats, and the women, because again, the women in so many of those images are relegated to the roles of sex workers, right? They are, you know, our brothel workers, right? Our ladies of the casino. And then we get this really rich silk wallpaper. That's sort of all the rage, starting with Versailles, and then we get the coffered ceilings, right? That very much we have an old world sense of aesthetics, which fits along with this area that is trying to model itself very clearly after the streets of Paris, right? It is a very French influenced. Oh dear.
Is your horse gone?
No, but this lady's dead.
What? Oh, I didn't see her at first. Is that bad? Okay, I have a couple of. What are you doing this for?
Yeah.
That the naturalistic style is more of the realistic sense of play.
Yes.
That you're encouraged to interact with the world, with
Mm-hmm.
curiosity and exploration, but you also know that your actions will change outcomes.
Right. So I love the idea of naturalism. I'm sort of an avid proponent of almost never using the term realistic, and I'll explain why in a second. But big on naturalism. So just real quick, if anybody doesn't know, what do we mean by naturalism?
Oh, they know.
They know? Okay. So that's what I like to tell my students is it is having the qualities of being lifelike. Or if we want to get technical, a sense of verisimilitude for our quote-unquote real world. Now, what naturalistic means, as you'll see, is entirely culturally and historically dependent. It is never actually built off of what the real world is like. It is only built off of how we interpret the real world at that moment. But one of the great things that video games brings us that you mentioned is the interactivity, that responsiveness. And that's one of the groups that I write my dissertation on. Ooh, look at this. This is sort of an interesting point to think of, right? About our environment. It is warning me that my horse is exhausted.
Oh, he is sleepy.
And that he needs something to eat and some rest, right? And I'm seeing the game send me signs on the screen, like visual cues, among other things, right? Letting me know that.
Yeah.
But that responsiveness, right? That is a condition engendered by the turn towards postmodernism and embracing of sort of the cybernetic moment of time that we live in now. Right? That it allows us to sort of create these virtual or artificial spaces that have the feedback loops that we had found only in the natural world prior. There's a rainbow. All right.
Shall we leave it with the rainbow?
I think we'll...
Snack and a nap.
Yeah, here. We'll make sure, just so nobody thinks I'm a monster. We'll make sure to feed the horse. Here, just to do them one better. We'll brush her. So this one's name is Zion.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. I've had Yosemite, Yellowstone, Arcadia, Kings Canyon, Redwood, Sequoia. I have played this game start to finish probably close to 20 times now.
Nerd.
I know.
There.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
I don't know if anyone can hear me hardly at all, but I also put it in the chat to thank y'all for coming.
Yes.
And submit your journal entry, your prompt on iLearn, and we'll figure out the sound issues for next time.
All right. Everybody have a good evening. Thanks for being there. Bevin put some stuff in the chat. Thanks for having me around. And we will talk to you guys next time.
Yes, over and out.